Clear for takeoff.
Randi Rhodes.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
The whole government has to work entirely for the leader. There's no government providing information and services like we're used to. There's no state. There's just the deep state, which is terrible and evil and against the leader, and it must be purged, replaced just with people he likes and who do what he wants. The government cannot have a civil service that has subject matter experts because everybody has to work only for the leader.
We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
In the Trump era, in the Republican Party, this is what it's like to be the nation's most esteemed public health official, the nation's top subject matter expert on infectious disease.
The criminal gang leaders, the big heads of the central banks, Pfizer head, Fauci, all of them that lied to Trump, we know, created the disinfo, already had the vaccine ready years before they released the virus.
Oh, my God.
They all need to go to prison for the rest of their lives. It is the right thing to do that they be executed. I'm not a wimp. I will volunteer. I think it should be public. I will pull the lever. I will say that. I don't have a bloodlust, but I don't want people to do work I wouldn't do.
I mean, this is some sick crap. But this is why corporate really likes this kind of broadcasting. This is why corporate really likes, Right Side Media and Newsmax, and they keep on inventing new channels. You know, Alex Jones started the whole conspiracy theory model. It has cost him his entire life. It has cost him his assets, his house, his cars, his boats, his marriage, his family, everything. And it couldn't happen quickly enough or to a nicer person. But this attack on expertise is very useful. It's very useful to people who have a lot of money, people who don't want to be regulated, people who really have an interest in, beating back things like the Environmental Protection Agency or the Department of Homeland Security or the Consumer Protection Agency that Elizabeth Warren fought so hard to get set up, right? They even questioned the way she funded it as a reason to, break it apart. And when all that doesn't work, and when all that doesn't, kill the agencies that regulate certain areas, to make sure that, we're not armed with machine guns anymore, then you get these weird decisions from the Supreme Court, like the one we got on Friday. And I swear to God, I listened to I can't tell you how many hours of reporting I listened to about this decision about bump stocks, and nobody got it right. Literally, nobody got it right. Nobody told you that the reason why, they hinted at it and they tiptoed around it. I'll play you like the closest we ever got to like the explanation. The explanation is simple. It's that the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Agency, the ATF, should not be regulating anything to do with firearms. Okay, this is the wet dream of gun manufacturers to disband the ATF or to defang the ATF. And what happened with bump stocks was Donald Trump couldn't get his Republican friends in Congress to do a federal ban on bump stocks. So he went through the ATF and gave them the authority to regulate bump stocks and say you can't have them. They're illegal now. And when that case made it to the court, it was brought by a guy, just a guy. His name was Michael Cargill, okay? It's just a guy. He owned a gun store, near Dallas. But the money that got this case all the way to the Supreme Court is the Koch family money. It is the Koch brothers' money that got this case all the way to the Supreme Court. And you might say, what are the Koch brothers who really want to defang the EPA, right? They love Scott Pruitt as a pick. But what do they care about the ATF? They don't. They care about the agencies, all of them, being staffed with fools and idiots and taking away any power they might have to regulate any damn thing. That's what this was about, this case with the bump stocks, okay? And the closest you got to an explanation was this here conversation by Chris Murphy from Connecticut, who obviously is, he became a senator because of Sandy Hook. Alex Jones is going to lose his life savings because of Sandy Hook. I mean, listen, I listened to them last night. This is crazy. I mean, but this is this kind of work I do, and I actually show up for it. But there was a chat on Twitter. You know how like now there's like you can people open up a chat and they start going into this room, and there was one with Alex Jones and Krasenstein. I don't even know who he is, but he's got millions of followers. I guess he has money to pay to get followers. I don't know, but I don't do it. Anyway, I'm in there and I'm listening to Alex Jones like cry about how he never ever questioned Sandy Hook. He never insulted the parents. This was a rigged trial. This was, the people that just hate him. It's all done out of animate. I mean, it was bizarre. And one of the guys that was defending him in front of him was saying that there was a guy who wrote a whole book about Sandy Hook and said no one was killed at Sandy Hook and nothing happened to him. I don't even want to say his name, but I know who that was, okay? And that guy was sued. He was sued for defamation after his book was published, and the parents of Sandy Hook won against that guy, and they, found him liable to the tune of $450,000 in damages. So, I mean, I just listen to all this lying going on, and I realize there's just, it's like a fire hose. There's no available method to fact check it. Okay, I tried to fact check it in real time, can't do it. Just, you can't. I mean, you have to raise your hand in these chat rooms, and then you have to wait to be called. And by the time the moment's gone, and whoever's hosting it doesn't know enough to actually be hosting this. But anyway, it's very sick. So Chris Murphy, who is from Connecticut, tried to explain it to you.
On Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned a Trump-era regulatory ban on bump stocks put in place after the horrific mass murder in Las Vegas in 2017. In a concurring opinion, Justice Alito suggested that it wasn't the law itself for at least three of the conservatives. It was the way it was done. He said there is a simple remedy for the disparate treatment of bump stocks and machine guns. Congress can amend the law and perhaps would have done so already if ATF had stuck with its earlier interpretation. Now the situation is clear. Congress can act. You heard Senator Cotton there. He didn't sound particularly supportive of the idea of banning bump stocks. He said it might infringe on the Second Amendment. Is there an appetite in the Senate for it?
Well, I think it's really scary that we've lost Republican support for banning machine guns. I mean, that's what a bump stock does. It turns a semi-automatic weapon into a machine gun.
Or something like a machine gun.
With one pull of the trigger, you can fire hundreds of rounds at one time. And of course, this is a Republican administration that banned bump stocks. At the time, Republicans in the Senate and the House were supportive of it. But now that they've got a Supreme Court that seems ready to unwind the entirety of the Second Amendment and take away from Congress or the executive branch the ability to keep our communities safe, they're once again lining up behind the gun.
No, he was just, there are obviously three liberal justices and three concurring Republican justices or conservative justices who would support it if done the proper way in their view.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. And we're waiting right now for a decision from the Supreme Court about guns. This is the second decision they will come to today. I shouldn't say today. They will come to in this month. And that is whether or not somebody under a restraining order for domestic violence can be banned from buying a gun. What do you bet me their answer is no? So bump stocks, they're going to uphold that? Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.